We heard a couple of selections from a CD called Symphonic Brass, featuring the Black Dyke Band, conducted by Nicholas Childs. First, the Farandole from L'Arlésienne by Georges Bizet, arranged by Howard Loriman. And then we heard Alan Fernie's, Jeff Richards' transcription of music of Georges Bizet, that familiar duet from the Pearl Fishers. Music performed here by the Black Dyke Band to open up our 9 o'clock hour of classical music on Blue Lake Public Radio. Good morning. The time is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock now. I'm Bonnie Bierma with you until noon today. And as always, it's a pleasure to be here. We have a special guest in the studio today, and we're wrapping up our 2015 Summer Arts Festival here at Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp and looking back over another great season here. We've had some great performances. A few of them are still to come. And from time to time, we've been taking a few minutes to talk with faculty members and staff over the summer. And this morning, we have David Rezits in the studio with us this morning. Welcome to us.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Bonnie.
David is a cellist. He's cellist in the Fort Wayne
Philharmonic,
right,
Indiana.
And teaches cello here at Blue Lake, teaches technique and sectional classes as well. He has performed all over the world with orchestras in Brazil, Israel, Czech Republic, many other places, and has attended participated in many music festivals too, including, I think the one that's probably most significant is the Blue Lake Music Festival and Czech Music Camp for Youth, and that was Father Merrick's camp.
Mm-hmm, yes.
So those of us at Blue Lake know that, and of course many other great festivals that he's also participated in. Is that where your first introduction to Blue Lake came from then?
Well, no, I taught in Blue Lake in the mid-'90s to about 2000, and kind of a funny story. I was just out in the parking lot, and I saw this elderly gentleman. He looked like he was lost. I couldn't figure it out, so I walk up to him, and I say, can I help you? And he says, no, I'm fine. And I said, well, who are you? And he says, my name's Father Merrick. And I said, this is named after you, and blah, blah, blah. And anyway, we got to talking. And after about a half hour of conversing, he said, why don't you come to the Czech Republic and teach cello at my camp, which is called the Czech Music Camp for Youth. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of, not to say, but abandoned Blue Lake temporarily. And I spent the next 7 summers in this very small village where he grew up and where he established this camp in the Czech Republic, about 2 hours east of Prague. And very meaningful time of my life, and I was thankful that I did that. But here I am back at Blue Lake after a hiatus, and it's nice to be back here also.
So you got performance degrees from Indiana University and State University of New York at Stony Brook, and then you sort of took a break away from the cello for a while. You got a master's in counseling.
Counseling, yes.
Yeah. Did you ever hang out a shingle and open a practice? Or?
Well, I was having a lot of physical problems with the cello, which is why I kind of just stopped for 5 years and looked for another career, as many musicians sometimes have to do, whether it's economic or physical.
Sure.
And I explored actually veterinary medicine for a couple of years and somehow worked my way to counseling. But I got the degree, and I didn't particularly feel qualified to go into that practice, and so I thought, well, let's give the music another try, and kind of resting for 5 years and having to kind of redo all my playing again
new technique,
try to figure out what the issues were and what were the problems, and it took me a while, but I managed to get back with it, and
certainly did.
Ended up in Fort Wayne. That was my first job after
wow, that's great. Yeah, after the little hiatus. Well, it's always a happy story when musicians are able to to continue their career. And I know that there are some occupational hazards with being a musician, but we're glad you're back to playing the cello again. So you work with students here at Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp, and I'm wondering, over the years, have you noticed a great change in Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp, or is it still basically the same as it was when you started?
It's pretty similar. I'm in awe of the new facilities. We didn't have what you have now, all the new additions to Merrick Hall, and it was kind of just being built then, but it wasn't functional.
Yeah.
And I think all performances were outside.
Yeah.
And to have inside concerts is a treat.
Sure.
Because you don't deal with the elements. And
That's
so the Miller Auditorium and the other place is very nice.
The Blodgett recital.
Blodgett recital. Very nice acoustic
Great.
place is really, really a treat. So that's new. The kids are the same.
Yep.
They're good kids.
Motivated
and a little hyperactive at times. Excuse me, but
hey, that's
they're
what
kids.
are.
That's what they do. So.
Yeah. Well, Blue Lake is a wonderful experience for students, and I know many who have come year after year, and they just they look forward to it so much. There must be something just very, very special about Blue Lake, and of course we get great faculty like you.
There's a wonderful faculty here.
Wonderful
I'm
faculty.
Very impressed.
Yes, I want to mention too. A few years ago, some of you may recall, during one of our funders, we offered as a premium a book called Culinary Harmony, and that was published by David Rezits.
Yes.
That was, I'm sure, kind of a formidable project for you.
It was something different.
Yeah. What gave you the idea to collect recipes from musicians?
Well, our orchestra came out with a cookbook, Fort Wayne Philharmonic, and it was a nice book and everything, and I just gave it to a friend who I'd known a long time in South Bend, and she looked at it and thought it was great, and she said, well, someone should come out with a famous musician's cookbook. And I, slept overnight, and next day I thought, God, that's what I'm going to do.
Great
it's just like it whacked me in the face, and that's the project I'm going to do. And next 3 years, that was what I worked on. I solicited, recipes from different people, wrote. Of course, this was pre-computer.
Yeah,
so I was banging everything out on a manual typewriter and writing all these agents and people like Perlman and Zubin Mehta. And
wow. I
had a sort of a contingency of people I knew from Bloomington, Indiana University, who had wonderful careers, like Joshua Bell or Andres Cardenas. And so I slowly built up enough to see, well, okay, I think I can start a book here. And then it kind of snowballed. And I would write a letter, and people say, well, this person's involved, and this person, and this person. And the letter got really long. And it got more and more impressive, and I think people kind of thought, well, it looks like a nice project. I think I'll participate, and ended up with about 200 people. So ample pages for a book, a recipe book.
I recall it was quite thick. Thick book, yes. Well, it's no surprise, I guess, that there's a correlation between classical musicians and cooking.
And
because
food.
they appreciate fine food, so,
And not everybody cooks, and that's sort of was the premise too. I didn't want to say, okay, this book is only if you cook and have a recipe that you do. I mean, people don't cook. Some musicians don't even boil water, But some are great cooks and have wonderful recipes. But I had a mixture, restaurants. Some people turned in restaurants. They said, this is my mother-in-law's recipe, or this is my recipe, or this is something, I invented. And so it worked out well. And
sounds like fun. Like it was a fun project. You've worked with some really illustrious conductors in your career. Kurt Masur, Seiji Ozawa, Leonard Bernstein. Wow.
Yeah, wonderful. In my younger years, like at Tanglewood was one of the places that you would just have nonstop wonderful conductors, really the legends of in music history.
Yeah, absolutely.
And very inspiring. And, at that age, you're also so malleable, and everything is the gospel, and you're very open-eared, and but it was wonderful to work with that level of a professional, and
great influence, and that carries through, in your own playing, and I'm sure in your teaching as well. Yeah. Do you have quite a few private students in cello?
I have a small class. Most is private. I'm not teaching at any universities currently. I had in the past, but transportation was an issue. Driving, the freelance musician driving 2 hours here, 2 hours here, and I decided to kind of reduce that. But I do have a private class.
Good. Well,
nice.
From what I can tell, talking to other string teachers, it sounds like string programs are pretty strong these days in this country. I mean, we can always use more, but it's always great to hear about excited students, still wanting to play string instruments, and it's a great thing. So while you're here at Blue Lake, you're playing in the festival orchestra, obviously, and you also played in the opera orchestra. So one big concert left, right? Saturday night?
Yes, our final concert.
Yeah.
Is it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday night.
Saturday night, yeah.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it is, yes. And a wide variety of music on that program, too, as I recall. I should have memorized it.
Yeah, I don't have memorized it. Several pieces by Ahrens and...
yes, and Michael Glinka.
Buffet, which is a nice one.
Right.
Kind of an interesting program. Not your heavy-duty works.
Right.
Beethoven, Mahler,
yeah,
whatever. Kind of a little bit on the lighter side, but should be entertaining for the kids and everything. And
absolutely. Well, I think that we're really highlighting composers associated with Blue Lake during this 50th season, and including, of course, James Niblock and Ludolf Ahrens, and so that's part of the reason that the program is, I think, what it is. But it sounds like a wonderful program Saturday night, and you will be there in the orchestra playing. It'll be just terrific. Yeah.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you coming by and talking for a few minutes. I know you've got classes to get to, and early class it's not that early, I guess, 9:30. It's not that early.
Not too bad.
Yeah, it could be worse. I had a 7:30 class in college. That was horrible.
I missed all those classes.
And couldn't do it without coffee,
No.
that's for sure. David Rezits has been our guest today here in the studio. He's one of many fine faculty members we have here at Blue Lake. We're so privileged to have such a great staff and faculty here at Blue Lake, which is what gives our students and campers such a great experience every year. So thank you.
Thank you.
For all that you do, and thanks for stopping by.
All right.
We're going to hear a little bit of music here from Cyril Scott. This is a set of 3 dances for orchestra, Opus 22. And we'll hear the National Symphony Orchestra of the South African Broadcasting Corporation. The conductor is Peter Marchbank on Blue Lake Public Radio.